Hello guys, and welcome back to my next tutorial. In this episode I'm going to be showing you how to make a flare. Now, I've already made the model and the materials for the flare in Blender. I can show you guys how to use Blender in a future tutorial if you guys want me to. But I just wanted to take a moment to have a look at this blueprint that we've been making. If you haven't checked out my previous tutorials on how to catch up to this point, please do. I'll leave a little card in the corner. Now, what we want to do is, first thing, on the light sources, we want to add a new pin on the execution. So what we do is we go to the light sources tab and we just click new here and type in flares. If I can spell it right, flares. Now save it, go back to the third person character and you should see this pin appear. Now, what do we actually want to do when the active light source is a flare? We want to spawn in a new actor. To do that, we need to actually make that actor first. So go back to your content browser, add a blueprint class actor. I'm going to call my flare, and we also need another actor. I'm going to call my flare effect. Now, in the effect, we're going to do that first. We need two things. We need to get rid of we can't get rid of the scene root. That's a stupid thing for me to try and do. What we do need is a particle system, not a Niagara one. We will do fine with the normal one. I will go through how to do Niagara later on, because I do quite like using that system. But we're just going to make that the root. And in the template, smoke. If you can't see those options, then you need to download the content, starter content. To do that, just go to add new, add feature or content pack. Content packs should be here. Just click on that, add to project, wait for it to be done, and you should see those options. If you don't, it might be a good idea to close down your editor and restart it, and that might solve the issue. Beyond that, I don't really know, but that's generally what solves it for me. Now, go back to your flare effect, go to add component, light. I'm going to go for a point light, and I want to change the colour to a nice deep red. And compile on that, and you should see that your smoke takes on that sort of deep red colour. Go back to here, compile this, and oh wait, no, we need to, sorry, the flare itself as well. We need to just add in a static mesh, add that to the scene root, and don't worry, I will provide the FBX for the flare, but I haven't imported it yet. God damn. Import the game. I am all over the place a little bit today, I do apologise. And I'm just going to navigate to where I stored my flare. I do know that my directory is a little bit unorganised. I accidentally rendered out a sequence to my hard drive, into my documents. So yeah, I need to get rid of them. Just going to import my flare, and yes. Oh, for crying out loud. Let me try that again. Yes, I do want to. What is going on? Why is it doing that? That's not in the. I'm just going to delete that. Port flare. Come on. Yes. Is it really complaining because it's a blueprint class as well? Let me just rename that. F2 actor. I am human. Yeah, it was literally because it was the name of a blueprint as well. Little tidbit there, guys. Just to make sure these are all right. materials, import textures. Yep. Import. I will include this FBX in the description down below. So while waiting for this, just download it, bring it into your own game, and you'll be fine. Now the material should automatically have the right textures applied to it. Let me just check. Come on. Oh, apparently not. I need to import the material textures as well. Import to game. Alright, so I found them, and I'll include those in the zip file as well. So what you want to do is in your material, you can just quickly click and drag them in. And get rid of this and plug this into the base color, this into the metallic, and hold down 1 and double left click, and you should get a scalar. I'm going to just plug into roughness. I'm going to give it a value of 0.5, and that worked. So apply it. I did have to jump a little bit there, just so you didn't have to see me fumbling around in my directory trying to find the materials. If I go to the director, and now go to the flare, static mesh, and material over 1, which should hopefully compile to what we want. I should probably rename this to flare. Sorry, m_flare. Just general naming practices. There we go. Got a nice basic looking flare. Nothing fancy. If we compile this now and get back to the third person character, we should be able to say, okay, on flare, when you activate the light source, we want to spawn actor from class. The class that we want is the flare actor. Okay, apparently that didn't work. Flare actor. And the spawn transform, we want to split the spin. The location we want is the interaction collider. Drag it out and get location. Drag it into there. The rotation we want is the follow camera, and we're going to get rotation. Get world rotation. There we go. Now, what we want to do is with the return value, we want to set linear velocity. Drag it into there, and from the world, and for the new velocity, because remember velocity has a direction, it's a vector. What we need to do is we need to get the forward vector of a certain rotation. That rotation is going to come from the follow camera, and we can just reuse the same node here, put that into there. Now, there's a problem here, and that is that the forward vector is very small. So what we want to do is we want to multiply this by a float, and drag that into there. Now this float, I'm going to promote to a variable. I'm going to call that throw strength, and this needs to be decently big. I'm going to set mine to about 1000. Hold that. Now, this is a very important step. You need to make sure that the flare actor is simulating physics, otherwise it will just spawn and won't do anything. Now, on the event graph, on begin play, what we want to do is we want to check if it can ignite. To do that, we just type in a branch and set this to a new variable. I'm going to call mine can ignite and compile that. Instance editable, expose on spawn. What this will basically do is when the object's created, it will take in this parameter as an I. It will take this in and set it on the constructor, which can be really useful. Okay, if it can ignite, then we want it to spawn actor from class, and the actor that we want it to spawn is the effect. So flare effect. Spawn transform, which is going to get the static mesh. Get transform. Get world transform. And set this to a new variable. Click combine effect. And we want to set the lifespan of this actor, not the effect. Make sure you're not dragging off of this into that. Make sure it's this variable, this actor. So the lifespan is going to be our last variable. Okay, and I apparently misspelled it twice. Now the lifespan, I'm going to set mine to 5 seconds. And now what we now need to do is we need to check if the time since, now we need to check if the time since creation has been exceeded or not. But before that, let's just check that this is all working. To do that, we need to go to the third person character, and up here when we select the light source, we need to just add one more input in. And go to my 3. To keep it consistent, we'll just Control W on that node to duplicate it, and press flares. I'm just going to drag that up into there as well. What I'll do in the future is make 3 different functions for deselecting a certain light source, so as they get more and more complicated, we don't have to constantly just do this. But for now, that should work. So if I go into here, click play, and when it finally loads up, there we go. So now if I press 3 and left click, it should throw out a flare. Now it should disappear after 5 seconds, and it does. But as you can see, the light and the smoke aren't following it, and they're not disappearing with it. So what we now need to do is, on the flare actor, we need to check if the get time since creation, and we need to check if this is greater than or equal to the lifespan. And this is going to be fed into a branch. Now, if the effect, which is get, convert this to a validated get, track the false into this part of it and true into this part of it. And if it is valid, then we want to destroy the actor. And this is going to be dragged into there. It's valid. There we go. And if it's false, we want to essentially translate the effect along with the flare. So to do that, drag out the effect again, choose get, set location, set actor location, and the location is going to be the static meshes location. If I can drag this out, get location, drag that to there, and this should hopefully now work perfectly. So I'll just close it down, and oh yeah, I was in flashlight mode, sorry. As you can see, the light is now following it along with the smoke, and it should disappear with it, which it does. Now, that is how you make a flare. And the way that you would reload that is similar to the batteries, in that you would right click on the item. Actually, you know what? Let's make this a bit more organized. Let's make a new folder. I'm going to call my flare. I'm just going to put everything in there. Oh, no, cancel that. Just hold Control and left click on everything related to the flare and just drag it in. Choose Move. If you're wondering what the source control notifications are about, then it's because I've connected this to my GitHub. I can show you guys how to do that as well if you want me to. Now, since this is a lot more neater and a lot more cleaned up, I'm just going to right click on the item, blueprint that we created in the flashlight tutorial, create child blueprint class, item underscore flare. Open this up, and I'm going to add in a static mesh, and I'm just going to make that the flare that we've already made with this right material. Compile it, go to the event graph, and what we want is a new variable, call it number to add. That needs to be an integer. Back to the third person character, I'm just going to quickly check, reload batteries, touching that. I think I added it back on in the battery item, didn't I? Yeah, add batteries in here. So what we need to do is we can close down the flare effect, flare actor, material, just so I've got a bit more space to work with. We can go down to the variables, add a new one called number of flares. This needs to be an integer. And what we're basically going to do is we're going to expand on this so that it checks if you can actually throw a flare if you've got one with you. So the item flare, what it's going to do is it's going to have a new function called add flares. What that's going to do is it's going to cast to third person character with get player character as the wildcard, and it's going to get number of flares, set number of flares, and just exactly what we did with the batteries, just add these two together. Did I do anything else, or is that it? Destroy the actor, of course. Pile that, go back to the third person character, and in the interaction, where have I placed that? Up here. Now, on the cast failed, we're going to try and cast to item flare. What I'm planning to do in the future is going to overhaul this a little bit, so all you need to do is cast the item parent, and it will do this function automatically. But for now, this will do because we've only got 2 items. Add flare. Now it's just a simple case of checking if the number of flares is above 0, and if it is, then throw it and minus a flare. That's pretty easy as well. We've done much more complicated stuff than that. Remember the trick: hold Control and left click, and you can change the execution pin. If it's true, we'll do that, and the condition is going to be number of flares. If it's above 0, then you can do it. And after this, then number of flares if you double tap the minus sign, it will take you to the decrement int, which will basically just take away 1 every time it's called. It's basically a better way of saying set it to this value minus 1, which is exactly what we want. If we compile it and just go back to here. So what should happen is I can only throw 3 flares before I run out. I'll switch to the flare mode, 1, 2, 3, and if I try to throw another one, I can't. If I drag in an item flare, I'll say over there, 1, 2, 3, and if I pick that up, I didn't actually set it to the default 1, I am such an idiot sometimes, so 1. So play it, 1, 2, 3, I can't throw anymore, pick that up, and I can throw one more, and I can't do it anymore. And that's how you do a flare system in Unreal. I hope you enjoyed this episode, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Please leave any suggestions that you have down in the comments below. I've already got one so far for a quick turn in Unreal. I'm going to be doing that at some point this week. I'm not really sure what else to do, so I would love some suggestions. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.